If you're raising children with a narcissist or other manipulator, surely you've had some exasperating experiences where they use your children as pawns to hurt or control you. In this video, I'm going to describe some of these common behaviors that they'll use when you're trying to raise children with a narcissist or other manipulator. And then I'm going to give you some ideas about what you can do about it. Keep in mind, a lot of these will overlap with narcissistic grandparents. That's either your narcissistic parents and or your narc-in-laws. If you're raising children with a narcissist or other manipulator, it's really important that you understand the inevitability of them using your children as pawns to hurt you, to provoke you, to control you. And the saddest part is that your children are going to receive the brunt of the collateral damage. So first, I want to talk about what are some common behaviors that you'll notice. Number one, they try to buy their love. So they're going to buy the kids toys, video games, pizza, iPads, you name it. You're going to feel like you're in a competition with them. Don't enter the competition. Don't start buying similar things to try to keep up with your ex or anything. What they're going to try to do is make their house and their place look very appetizing and fun, and your place look very boring and uninteresting. Number two, they're going to bulldoze your boundaries on dietary requirements for your kids. So maybe you don't want your kids to be eating sugary candy and processed foods and fast foods and drinking sugar drinks and all kinds of other garbage, but your ex is allowing them to eat this stuff. It might even be too that your children have allergies, as in they got tested and they have an actual allergy to certain food, and your ex or your narc-in-laws or your parents try to test these allergies because they believe that they know better than the test results that you got. And they could even end up putting your child's life in danger if they have a serious allergy to something like peanuts. Usually what'll happen is they'll laugh about it, they'll minimize it, they'll justify it afterwards. So it's like a double whammy for you because they have to throw it in your face, or you bring up the fact that they weren't allowed to eat that or drink that, and they're going to minimize it and they're going to justify it, and they'll usually do some form of shaming or laughing at you in the process. Number three, they will poison the kids' minds against you. So this is part of the smear campaign, and this can come about in very overt ways. They might directly say things very openly to the children, or it might be much more covert. Your ex might be playing the victim, or your parents, your narc-in-laws, playing the victim, creating false accusations against you, somehow making you look like the bad person and them as the victim and the good person. Number four, they lose their belongings. Maybe it's the child's favorite toy, their blankie, their binky, something like that. They pretend to lose this, or they forget this object at their home. They bring the child or children back to you, and they're inconsolable because they don't have this thing that they rely on to fall asleep, to feel calm, and there's nothing you can do about it. Number five, they emotionally extort tears from your children in an effort to control you. So if they know that you will do absolutely anything when the child is crying and upset, they will do that just to upset the child than to make you do whatever it is that they want. Number six, they'll give the kid something they're not allowed to have, and then they'll make you be the bad guy because you have to take that away from them. That could be an object, that could be food, that could even be privileges, like how many hours a day they're on a device like an iPad or a cell phone or a computer, or how many hours they're allowed to watch television, or what things, what movies they're allowed to watch on TV. Number seven, they like to steal all the firsts. That's your child's first everything. Their first Halloween costume, their first haircut, their first trip to a certain park, their first time seeing a certain movie. They want to monopolize and control all of that so that every first memory your child has is with them. Number eight, they will use the children as emotional support animals. So they will do what's called emotional incest, where they'll make that child their partner. They will rely emotionally on that child to rescue them, to meet their needs, to listen to them. They will do a form of enmeshment where the child's sense of self is entirely too wrapped up in the parent and pleasing the parent. They're like an extension of that parent or grandparent in other cases. They're going to play victim and poor me, so the child will rescue them and console their emotions. And oftentimes that's going to paint you in a bad light somehow. Number 9, exaggerating or lying about you and or your parental skills within earshot of the child. So maybe they're on the phone in front of the kid, or they're talking to someone in front of the kid, and they know very well the kid can overhear them. They're going to specifically do it when they know the kid will overhear them talking poorly about you. So it starts to plant these ideas in the mind of your child that you're not good enough or something is wrong with you. And again, that could even be total lies that they're making up against you. So those are some typical behaviors that you'll notice. Now, what can you do about it? They say there is no co-parenting with a narcissist or other manipulator. They like to call this now parallel parenting, meaning you're parenting, you're raising the child or children in your way when they're with you, and you have no control over what's happening when they're with that other parent. So it's like you're both raising those children or that child separately in a parallel way. So I have 10 suggestions for you to help you deal with this extraordinarily difficult situation. Number 1, most importantly, release your desire to control whatever's going on over there. You have no control over what they're saying, what they're feeding the kid, what they're allowing the kid to do when they're on their time under their custody. It's going to be really hard to release that control, especially when you know that stuff isn't good for your kid. Eating ice cream for breakfast, eating a whole pound of Skittles or something like that. But you're going to have to release the control over what's happening over there because you don't have any control over that. Number 2, having the most minimum contact possible with that person. So you can't be entirely no contact when you're raising children. You can completely cut off the personal relationship, talking about nothing personal, only emergencies and details that have to do with the children. Everything is in writing, preferably email and or parental apps. There's an app that I've heard about called Our Family Wizard. You might know of others. Please leave that information in the comments below to help other people find these resources. But you are not going to allow any other conversation, and you're going to make sure that you have a paper trail. That's why email is the best, because that way you can take that stuff to court if you need to. This minimized form of contact is absolutely key for your health and sanity. Number 3, have very clear boundaries. So you want to make these very clear and in writing. And one of the most important boundaries that you can have is that your space is private. That person does not enter your home. You don't enter their home. So it's fair in both ways. You're not entering each other's spaces. They aren't going to be bombarding the children with lots of contact while they're with you, just like you're not going to be having a lot of contact with the kids while they're with them. Only emergencies and things like that. And also, don't allow surprise visits. If it's your time to have the kids, that other person is not showing up at your door. Number 4, document every infraction that person commits against your custody agreement. You need to have a very clear and detailed custody agreement that is planning the lives of your children until they're 18. All the different things that can come up, health, school, education, therapy, extra support, activities, etc. All that is very detailed. Anytime that person doesn't show up to pick them up on time, changes the plans last minute, can't handle the kids that weekend, whatever is going on, you need to document that immediately, contact your attorney, and file a motion if need be. You know, if this is something that's putting your children's safety at risk, then you need to file a motion to make sure that something is getting handled in the court system to make your ex responsible for the safety of your children. Now you might need to weigh out, is this really worth it? Is it, something absolutely important? Is it worth the thousands of dollars that it might cost you in court to take care of that emotion. If it's about their safety, it's worth it. If it's about other things, you really got to decide if you want to fight that. Number 5, schedule extra self-care time when the kids are with your ex. So that means doing all those important self-care things for yourself, doing your inner work, scheduling therapy appointments or acupuncture, massage, whatever it is that you want to schedule. Also make time for fun, for your friends, for your social life, so that you're making sure you're taking care of yourself fully when you're on your own. That way you're also not going to be sitting around thinking about how many bowls of ice cream they ate today, or if they let them have free reign over all the snacks in the cupboard, or what kind of damage you're going to have to clean up when the kids get back. Focus on you and take care of you. That way you can be at a high A game level when the kids do come back and you have to manage the damages that are coming. Number 6, remember you are the lighthouse for your children. You need to be the example. You need to be able to model healthy behavior, emotional behavior, the actions that you take, how you deal with people, how you deal with your ex, how you deal with your kids. And remember, when it gets really tough, and it's going to be hard to remind yourself about this because you're going to want to give up, remind yourself, you have to rise up. You have to be that lighthouse for your kids. If you're not well, if you're not shining your light, how are your kids ever going to find the shore out of that tumultuous storm at sea? Number 7, respond instead of react to any of your ex's drama, chaos, crisis, and provocations. Because what your ex is going to try to do, besides upsetting you and expending all of your emotional energy and all that, they're going to try to entrap you so that they can use your reaction against you in court. And that could be really devastating. So you need to make sure that you master the technique of responding instead of reacting. If you haven't seen the playlist of the videos that I made on that topic, I'm going to put that link up here for you. Number 8, choose your battles wisely. The narcissist is going to try to get you to expend all of your energy. That way your brain isn't working well, your mind isn't clear, you're a lot easier to manipulate if you're not choosing your battles and expending your energy wisely. So make a very clear list and write this down of what is most important to you, what your non-negotiables are. That way you know very clearly what you're going to invest your energy in protecting. So one of those things is probably going to be your children's safety. Anything having to do with your children's safety, you are going to have to fight that battle. If it's something that doesn't matter as much, maybe you like that tutor better than that tutor for math, but your ex is really adamant on paying that tutor, maybe that's not such a big deal. So be very clear what these are. Make sure that you know your values so you know what you need to set standards and boundaries around in order to protect. Number 9, be sure that you're surrounding your kids with loving and supportive friends and family so they can observe those interactions. They can feel the love and support of people. That will help to counteract all of the damage that is inevitably going to happen when they're on your ex's time. So be sure you're planning activities together, you're planning vacations, you're planning things, because otherwise the time will just pass by and maybe you don't set those things up. Make sure you put them on the calendar. Number 10, actively listen to your kids when they're with you. Allow them to express themselves freely to you. Really listen to them, validate and empathize with what they're saying. Ask more questions or little things like, tell me more about that. Be sure you're not allowing your kids to play victim. So if they're telling you about something that's happening where they were victimized, honor what they're feeling. I'm so sorry that you felt that way. You must have been so frustrated. That must have been awful. I'm so sorry that you went through. Give them a hug if they're open to body contact like that. But if your child is playing the victim, which is very likely a strategy that they're going to learn from your ex, you need to nip that in the bud and don't allow them to play victim. Encourage them to take responsibility for themselves when they're trying to manipulate you by pretending to be the victim. So notice the difference there. If they were victimized by your ex or a bully at school or something like that, make sure that you're validating their emotions and their feelings You can also ask them, give them some ideas about what they can do about that. But don't let them manipulate you just like your ex did. So I hope this video was helpful for you if you're trying to raise kids with a narcissist or other manipulator. As you know, I'm not a parent, so I did the best I could to put this out there. I also talked to somebody in my life who's doing this, so she gave me some ideas of things to add to this video. Now, maybe I didn't mention some common tactics that you've noticed your ex does frequently. Please leave those in the comments below. Share them with other people so they can see these patterns in their life, other things that I might not have mentioned. And also, if you found other helpful strategies for dealing with these kinds of behaviors from your ex, please leave those in the comments below. That will be really helpful for other people who are raising children with these types of character disordered people. I'm sending you a big hug.